Jay-Z. Oh my God! I really like him though. And I don't care who he's dating. I always had a crush on him.
So this is my public appeal. Blu. The first Blu. Not they daughter Blu. Blu Cantrell. Blu, it's time to talk. It's time for you to sing again.
What Blu Cantrell never told us about Jay-Z might flip the way you see both of them forever. It's time to bring that voice back. Because for years, the street's been whispering a secret romance, a hidden pregnancy, and a silence that might have been forced. But what happens when that silence finally cracks? Was Blu Cantrell wiped out of the spotlight just to keep the Carter empire squeaky clean? And here's where it gets crazy. Some folks believe Blue Ivy, Jay-Z's legendary daughter with Beyonce, might not even be Beyonce's biological child. Say what? We're diving deep into one of the wildest, most jaw-dropping theories in the music game. And after this, you'll never hear the name Blu the same again. See, Blu didn't come out of nowhere. Before the scandals, before the vanishing act, she was that girl. Born Tiffany Cobb. She had the pipes, the image, and the industry behind her. And when she dropped her debut album, So Blue, it exploded. Her hit single, Hit 'Em Up Style, Oops, was everywhere, turning her into one of the fastest rising R&B queens of that era. Blu's debut album went gold in just 2 weeks. She was climbing the Billboard 200, pulling in 2 Grammy nominations, and suddenly her name was up there with the R&B elite. Ashanti, Mia, Monica. She was locking down tours, hitting major press circuits. This was her moment to shine. But just as she was about to blow all the way up, things got weird. And it wasn't the music or her sales, it was Jay-Z. Behind closed doors, insiders claim Blu and Jay were getting real close. Like, not just industry friends. We're talking serious chemistry. They were spotted together at events, kicking it on vacations, and showing up at private parties thrown by names like Diddy. Rumors started flying fast. Were they more than friends? Even Wendy Williams came straight out with it on air, asking Blu if she'd ever kissed Jay-Z romantically. Blu's response? She giggled, looked nervous, and completely dodged it. No denial, no explanation, just a coy little smirk that set the internet on fire. From that point, the rumors snowballed. Instead of shutting things down, Blu's silence made everything messier. And here's the kicker. This was all happening right as Beyonce was stepping into her solo glow up. If the whispers were true, Jay-Z was playing tug-of-war between 2 powerful women, Blu, fiery and raw, and Bey, younger, polished, and camera-ready. During that now infamous Wendy Williams interview, Blu dropped a straight-up bomb. She hinted that Jay-Z didn't choose Beyonce for her talent, but because she was younger and easier to control. Back then, folks called it shade, but looking back, it sounds more like a warning from someone who felt played and tossed aside. Blu wasn't holding back either. She flat out accused Beyonce of stealing her entire style. And just like that, everything started crumbling. Bookings gone, her contract with Arista quietly dropped, radio play fading fast, her name slipping out of the spotlight like she'd never existed. In just a few months, Blu Cantrell, once one of R&B's brightest rising stars, went dead silent. So what really happened? Was it just bad luck, or did somebody up top shut her down on purpose? Well, if you ask Jaguar Wright, another artist who's exposed a lot of industry foul play, the answer's loud and clear. She said it over and over. Blu didn't disappear by accident. She claims Jay-Z and Beyonce blacklisted her. And here's the wildest part. She believes naming their daughter Blue Ivy wasn't just a flex. It was an erasure. Her exact words, Jay-Z worked very hard to erase you and me. She announced a 3rd album, called herself a free agent, ready to make a comeback. But nothing ever dropped. No singles, no videos, no buzz, just silence. Then in 2014, boom, it all blew up. Blu was found running barefoot through the streets of Santa Monica, screaming that someone was trying to poison her with gas. She was taken in for a psych evaluation and instantly branded as unstable by the media. And just like that, her name disappeared. Again, this time buried under scandal. But was it really a mental breakdown? Or was Blu trying to escape something? Some say she was never meant to survive in this game. That wild rumor, the one saying Blu Cantrell is the real mother of Blue Ivy Carter. At first it sounds like pure internet madness until you start lining up the facts. Suddenly, it don't sound so crazy. It sounds calculated. Let's talk timing. Blu vanished from the spotlight in 2004, right after her 2nd album. Her whole career hit a brick wall. No more music, no interviews, no red carpets, just gone. Then 8 years later in 2012, Beyonce gives birth to Blue Ivy Carter, and Blu Cantrell is still completely wiped from the scene. Fans started connecting dots. Why would Jay-Z and Beyonce name their child Blue? A color? A vibe? Some said it was Jay's obsession with blue themes, but others weren't buying that. Some believe the name Blue wasn't just a color choice. It was a coded message, a hidden nod to Blu Cantrell. And that's where this theory takes a dark turn. Because now we're talking silence, manipulation, and maybe even worse. According to fan speculation, Blue didn't just vanish. She was forced into the shadows. Some claim she gave up her child through pressure, while others believe she was pushed into ending a pregnancy altogether. And the wildest part, they say Beyonce's own pregnancy timeline backs this up.
That's a Blu Cantrell, but yeah, no, he was dating Blue.
Wow,
He had another
really
woman
was,
that was
and they were
pregnant that was about to come out with her pregnancy around
Was
the
she
same
from the islands?
Something like that.
Think back to that infamous 2011 interview Beyonce did with Australia's Sunday Night. She sat down glowing in a tight dress, but when she leaned forward, bam, her belly folded in a way that made the internet lose its mind. People started questioning everything. Was she wearing a prosthetic? Was there a surrogate? Was the pregnancy real? Now line that up with Blue's sudden disappearance, and the story starts looking a little too scripted. If Beyonce did use a surrogate, who was the real mother? Some think Blue was the one carrying the baby, and she was forced to stay silent. Jaguar Wright, known for exposing industry secrets, didn't hold back. She flat out said Jay-Z and Beyonce erased Blue, used their clout to bury the truth, block the competition, and rewrite history. Even the name Blue Ivy, she says it wasn't random, it was intentional. And here's the most chilling part, according to Blue herself. When Beyonce found out she was pregnant, she panicked. Blue says Bey tried to poison her, and even forced her to end the pregnancy. Blue claimed that's what broke her. Not the fame, not the contracts. And when fans saw her break down in 2014, barefoot in Santa Monica, screaming about poison, they didn't see crazy. It's a classic playbook. When someone becomes a problem, you don't just ignore them. You destroy their credibility, then make them vanish. And that's why the Blue Ivy theory keeps gaining steam.
At the end of the day, a younger, less savvy to the ways of the world broad.
Somebody a little bit more naive.
You said it.
Even if you believe Beyonce is the biological mom, the secrecy, the NDAs, the image control, it all makes this theory feel way more legit than it should. Think about it. If Blue did have a child with Jay-Z, what would that do to Beyonce's entire image? To the Carter brand, a billion-dollar empire built on black love, loyalty, and power couple goals. It would crumble. Jay wouldn't just be a cheater. He'd be a man who had a secret baby with another woman, then helped bury the truth. Beyonce, she'd be accused of helping cover it up, maybe even rewriting the story to fit the brand. And Blu Cantrell, she'd go from being a forgotten R&B name to the missing link in one of the biggest celebrity stories of our time. But here's the strange part. Blue never said she had a child, never claimed to be a mom, no baby photos, no interviews, no names, just gone. And maybe that's exactly what they wanted, silence. Blue's career didn't just fade out like most stars who lose momentum. It disappeared overnight. One moment she's climbing the charts, the next vanished. Let's rewind to 2003. Blue dropped her second album, Bittersweet. It had heat, solid tracks, powerful vocals, and it even landed her another Grammy nod. But behind the curtain, something felt off. The album got barely any promo. Arista Records, who pushed her first project like crazy, didn't lift a finger this time. Her tour dates cut short. And while Beyonce was prepping to take over the globe, Blue was getting iced out, slowly but deliberately. Then out of nowhere, her contract, not renewed, no press release, no official statement, just gone. That alone had people raising questions, but it got messier. The comparisons started flying. Blue didn't just feel overshadowed, she felt copied. Take her roundup video, Western vibes, bold outfits, desert scenes, that gritty edge. Not long after, Jay-Z and Beyonce dropped 03 Bonnie and Clyde with visuals that looked real familiar. Then came Baby Boy with Beyonce and Sean Paul. Same island-inspired sound, catchy hook, and wavy rhythm Blue was already playing with. To Blue, none of this felt random. It felt planned, strategic. like someone was using her blueprint and flipping it with a bigger machine behind them. And who was at the center of Beyonce's rise every step of the way? Jay-Z. Her promo vanished. Her name got quietly pushed out the spotlight, and it didn't stop there. In one of the boldest moves of her career, Blu came for Beyonce directly, not just through her music, but in interviews too. In a sit-down with The Guardian, she didn't bite her tongue. When asked about Beyonce, Blu said, "I'm an adult. She's younger, and if she's doing what you're saying, then she's being a little immature. If she goes there with me, it's the wrong move." Then she added, "If you have issues with your man, address it with him. Don't take it out on the girl." To fans watching, the message was crystal clear. Blu was done being quiet. She wasn't just throwing shade, she was calling Beyonce out, loud and clear. And Jay-Z, she wasn't holding back there either. But right after that interview, Blu vanished. No new tracks, no third album, no shows, nothing. She disappeared right when she finally decided to speak up. Sound familiar?
He worked very hard to erase you and me, just like he did Elle, just like he did his relationship with R. Kelly, just like he did his relationship with Aaliyah. Blu, it's time to talk.
According to Jaguar Wright, that's not a random fluke. It's a pattern, a formula. Jaguar, once a rising neo-soul star herself, has been exposing what she calls strategic erasure. She says the industry deliberately silences artists who won't play the game, or worse, those who become a threat. This wasn't just about competition in the music game. This was about control. If Blu and Jay-Z really had a relationship, maybe even a pregnancy, then pushing Blu out of the spotlight wasn't just industry politics. It was about covering up a story. And here's the thing, it doesn't stop with Blu. Other women in R&B, same eerie pattern. Mia, Monica, even Aaliyah, they were all shining before Beyonce's solo career exploded. Then suddenly, they hit walls. Mia went from red carpets and world tours to hustling on the indie scene. Monica stopped getting love from mainstream radio. And Aaliyah, who was already breaking into Hollywood, died in that tragic plane crash in 2001, just as Destiny's Child was leveling up. To some fans and insiders, this isn't coincidence, it's systemic. By 2004, Jay-Z was sitting at the top as president of Def Jam, a position with serious power. And guess what? That's exactly when Blu's contract got dropped. Later on, Blu revealed something that raised even more eyebrows. The lawyer she was told to use during contract talks, also working for the label. That's a huge conflict of interest. She never had a chance. Blu said it herself. "If I'd known, I would have gotten my own lawyer." That lawyer was working for them. They took what was mine. She had zero control over her masters, barely saw any royalties. And when she pushed back, she was iced out. No allies, no support, no stage. Then came the final blow, her 2014 breakdown. By then, Blu had been MIA from music for years. No third album, no tours, no interviews. Fans who once saw her topping the charts were left wondering what happened. And when her name popped back up in headlines, it wasn't for music, it was for madness. Instead of a comeback, Blu was found barefoot, running through the streets of Santa Monica at 2 a.m., screaming that someone was trying to poison her with gas. Police showed up and took her in for a psychological evaluation. And just like that, Blu became tabloid fodder. A headline, a punchline, another crazy singer who lost it. The media went in hard, calling her unstable, unhinged, washed up. But for some fans, it all sounded too familiar to ignore, because this wasn't the first time a celeb spiraled under strange, suspicious circumstances. Back in 1996, Martin Lawrence was spotted walking through LA traffic, waving his arms, yelling that someone was trying to kill him. In 2016, Kanye West was forcibly hospitalized after going off on stage, calling out Beyonce, Jay-Z, and elite industry power players. Britney Spears, her public breakdown came after years of being legally controlled and psychologically cornered. Every time a celebrity starts speaking out or just becomes inconvenient, the same script gets rolled out. Label them crazy, discredit, silence. Blu's situation followed that exact formula. But here's the twist. She didn't stay quiet forever. Eventually, she started speaking up. And when she did, what she revealed flipped everything we thought we knew about that 2014 breakdown.
Mistress that has love child with Jay-Z. Allegedly. I didn't work on that story, but the reporters that did reported that, she was paid very well to basically shut up.
Because according to Blu, that night wasn't just a mental health episode. It was the result of a trauma she was never allowed to talk about. A pain that had been silenced, buried, and boiling over. Blu didn't say the industry forgot her. She said it erased her. And worse, betrayed her. According to her, the very people who once promised to protect her career were the ones who used and discarded her. She dropped a bomb when she revealed that the lawyer assigned to help her navigate her Arista Records contract was actually working against her. In her words, that lawyer ended up representing them, a full-blown conflict of interest. She said they were all in on it, working together to take what was hers and leave her with nothing. Blu claims she was set up, misled, and tossed out like she never mattered. But what she said next, that's where things got explosive. Blu says someone tried to poison her with gas that night in Santa Monica back in 2014. She says it wasn't a mental break. It was a desperate escape. Now, these claims are almost impossible to prove, but here's the thing. Blu's not the only one telling this kind of story, and she's definitely not the only woman whose career mysteriously crumbled after getting too close to Jay-Z's circle. Take Yaira Marie. She was once set up to be the next big thing under Jay-Z's Rockefeller. Then out of nowhere, gone. Insiders say Beyonce found out she was getting too close to Jay, and everything stopped. One blind item even claimed Beyonce sent a message to label execs, no deals for Tiara. And anyone who tried allegedly got a visit and a warning. Then there's Kathy White, another woman linked to Jay-Z. Word was she was pregnant and ready to go public, but the day before she was set to expose it all, she was found dead. Case closed, no follow-up, no answers, just silence. And now, years later, the whispers are louder than ever, and they're not just aimed at Jay-Z. Some believe Beyonce was the one who made sure Kathy never got the chance to speak. Blu Cantrell's 2014 breakdown doesn't look like a meltdown anymore. It looks like the final scream of someone who had been silenced for way too long. She had no label, no team behind her, no stage to speak from, and once the media slapped her with the unstable label, the industry got exactly what it wanted. A clean exit, no questions asked. But Blu wasn't the only one. As Beyonce's star rose higher, other powerful R&B women didn't just fade away, they vanished. No send-off, no explanation, just gone. And when you start lining up their stories side by side, the pattern's hard to ignore. Take Mia. She was everywhere in the late 90s and early 2000s. Grammy-winning collabs, big-time record deals, and even features on Jay-Z's biggest records. But right when Beyonce was breaking away from Destiny's Child and stepping into her solo era, Mia's name started disappearing from the mainstream. Suddenly, she's off the charts, off the radio, pushed into indie deals and underground projects. Distribution issues, limited promo, and no major backing. She was sidelined. And years later, Mia hinted at the truth. She said she felt blackballed, that she had to rebuild everything from the ground up after the politics flipped on her. And then there's Aaliyah. Before Beyonce ever became Queen Bee, Aaliyah was it. She was setting trends, breaking records, and effortlessly blending R&B with pop and hip-hop. She was the blueprint, the one everyone was watching. But just as Destiny's Child was gearing up for their global takeover, Aaliyah was gone. A tragic plane crash in 2001 took her life, and with it, the only woman many believed would have reigned as the true R&B queen of her generation. Aaliyah was already making major moves, landing Hollywood roles, dropping new music, and shutting down red carpets with ease. But in 2001, tragedy struck. Aaliyah died in a devastating plane crash, just as Destiny's Child was wrapping up and Beyonce was being lined up for solo superstar status. Some fans couldn't help but side-eye the timing, not from a conspiracy angle, but culturally, because Aaliyah was the only one truly in Beyonce's lane. And after she was gone, the road was wide open. There was no other competition at her level anymore. And that brings us right back to Blu Cantrell. What if her story wasn't just a one-off, but the first chapter of a much bigger book? What if she was the warning, the test run? A woman who had the vocals, the look, the connections, the fan base, everything, and then had it all snatched away? This industry has pulled strings like that before, and it'll do it again. But now, the truth is starting to leak bit by bit from whistleblowers like Jaguar Wright, from old interviews Blu tried to do that got buried, from fans who never forgot, and from contracts and receipts that don't stay hidden forever. Because if Blu Cantrell was erased, who's next? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, subscribe, And don't forget to check out what's popping next in our hood. You don't want to miss what's coming.